Hey y'all, welcome back. Right now it is October. It's been quite a while since I've sat down to edit some of this footage that I have, and I finally have time to kind of sit and do that. Work got real crazy. Working on another car that got real crazy. It didn't work out. I think it needs an engine. I didn't film any of that just because I didn't have high hopes from the beginning and I didn't really know what I was doing. So since the last video, we've done. Uh, I think we had just gotten back from Power Tour, and I shot some of this footage. So we've done Power Tour, Hot Rod Power Tour in June, the Van Nationals in July. August was kind of a work month to work on things that I have around here. September kind of the same, but August and September were very busy for me at work, so I really didn't get to work that much. Which is good because the last 2 years since 2020 have not been the busiest, as it's been for most of everyone else. So I'm happy about that. I'm fine with that. It's not what I initially wanted, but because I'd love to work on the van a lot more, I'd love to work on the camper a lot more. Whatever, it works out. So that brings us to October this month, and out of town almost every weekend. So we had to cruise on the coast. I've had an engagement party to go to. This past weekend was busy doing house chores that I haven't done the whole month. And then next weekend is Halloween. I have a wedding to go to. I have, Halloween parties, things like that. So in November, it's not looking much better. But so just to let you know, this footage was shot back in July. This is right before the Van Nationals, which I want to say was like July 20 something, late July. So all of this was shot between Hot Rod Power Tour and the Van Nationals, and so I'm gonna get you back in on that. I say Plan B in the upcoming footage. Plan A was never gonna work, but it was the van. I'm going on my plans to get to the Van Nationals. So Plan A was the van, and here's Plan B. Plan B was a '78 Volkswagen bus. Uh, that's not gonna make it. It needs some work, and had a time this weekend to work on it, and that didn't align with. It's actually my brother's bus, and he was out of town, so I didn't get to work on it. So it's not going because I'm leaving this weekend coming up. So Plan C, I could have flown. I thought about it. Get picked up by a buddy. That's not as much fun. I wanted to take my dog. So Plan D, we're taking the camper with my pickup truck. And I guess, you have to have a van to get in. That's your ticket in. So my buddy's actually going to meet me at the gate. We'll load my camper on the back of his van, and we'll head on in. Really, the only thing that's changed is I've got a new zipper on the tent. This was broken when I got it. I mean, the zippers, they're 52 years old. I think they're aluminum. They're corroded. They're dry. They break. All the teeth rip off. So I got a nice new plastic zipper on here. That's how they make them now. And the tent's back on. Essentially, that's all that's happened. Still have blocks of wood holding up the sides. Those are bolted on. I think that was in the last video. I'm working on finishing up those cabinets that I had bought, doing the table. The floor is pretty much done for now. There's some little hangers that hold up the side pieces, and that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot I can do. I've got a few days to really just put this together. I could leave everything out and just go with it bare like I camped with it the first time, but what's the fun in that? I already bought everything for it. I bought the stuff to use it. Might as well use it. Now we're working on the table. I'm getting some old screws out of all the mounts and stuff. This is the mount that goes on the body. This is the little pin leg that folds up. So I'm putting them in a way that hopefully, let's pretend this is one cabinet and this is another cabinet, and the table goes in the middle. So you're sitting there eating, everything's good, and then you say, "Hey, we're leaving. We're moving." So the table's gonna pop up and out because that's how it works, and I need somewhere to store it. Well, it's gonna be too narrow to fit between those two cabinets because the original cabinets were wider and the table was narrower, and they just kind of locked together and they made another bed. Well, I'm not doing that. So the table's gonna come up and go sideways and fit on top in a little routed channel. And that way it can't go back and forth, it can't go side to side, it doesn't mess up the top that I'm gonna put on it. Everything should go to plan. And the way to do that is to make sure there's at least 4 or so inches each side of the table, uh, so that it can overlap those cabinets, if that makes sense. So the table's going to be a little overlapping outside the tent, just a hair, or at least flush with it. And I didn't really plan it on that way, but this is the only way I can think to store it where it's not in the way, it's not going to move. All right, so let's take a gander at what I've got here. So this back part is the mount that slides into the camper body itself. It slides into the tracks that the beds slide on. And this is that little stinger arm that folds up and down. You can see, you just pinch it, this one thing pinches in, and it'll move down. So when it moves down, it's actually the perfect width. Let's see if I can get it. Okay, all right. It's the perfect width to be 4 inches here, 4 inches there. It's gonna overlap the cabinets probably an inch or two. I just wanted to leave some room just for setting it on there and making sure that I don't dink it, because I really don't want to mess anything up. So this is the underneath. I used the original hardware on here. I threw some tech screws in that. I'm not roughhousing with the table. If that doesn't hold, then I'll have to redo it at some point, but so far it seems super sturdy. Let's go throw it in the camper and see how it looks. All right, so of course there's like no light inside of this thing, but it looks good. As you can see, those just slide into that top track, and they lock in. And then that's the leg, and it's perfect. So I think I'm gonna take these corners and angle them. I just don't know if it's gonna be a 45 or a 30, something like that, but it looks good, and perfect height for me to sit on it, so it's great. And now here we are with the table down, and look how perfect that is. You can see the mounts are not touching the cabinets. There's a lot of room there. The cabinets aren't put in yet, so they're kind of wonky, but you get the general idea. So I'm gonna build the tops out of the same material as the table, and then that's what the table will fit into, and that's what'll hold it. But this is perfect. Even if I wanted to make this a bed, I probably still could. This is perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, so I cut the 2 bench tops. Eventually I want to cover these, not really cover them, but just put a pad on top of them for sitting. But for now, I'll just have this blank top. So what this is what I'm doing now is I got my yardstick on there, 36 inches, and that tabletop wide, the width is 30 inches. So I'm gonna have 3 inches on each side that is not routed, and there's gonna be, for 30 inches right in the center, I'm using a 1/2 inch rabbit bit to dig down about half the width of this board, and to allow that tabletop to kind of sink in there. And I think I'm gonna do the same thing on the table, so it kind of sits flush. And that way it makes sure it doesn't jump out of the groove or anything. All right, look how rad this is. I used the rabbit bit on the router and made a disaster, but look how cool this is. So I'm gonna do the table now, and it'll lip into there. Messed up over here and kind of right there too, I guess. It started, the bearing started eating into the place where it's supposed to ride, so it ate in a little far. But you know, did that one first, learned a little bit, and check out that second one, near perfect. So PVC probably isn't the best thing to route. Now I know that, but let's do the table real quick and we'll be done. All right, all of the routing is done, and I've got a pretty poor representation of how it'll sit in the camper, but you can see they kind of interlock. I mean, it's kind of hanging off the edge here, so it's not interlocking that good, but they will be flush. And I gotta clean everything up, everything. That's just a disaster. And then I'll be ready to put it back in the camper and test fit. I don't want to drag any of this PVC dust into the camper. All right, I lied. I couldn't not get these in here before I cleaned up. Wow, they look good. So the cabinets still aren't mounted. I need to measure that out and get them right where they need to be, and that kind of decides on where the tops go and stuff. They need to be really wide actually to fit the table between them, because I tried to get the table as big as I could without it being overly big, but I still wanted some space to eat and whatever else you're gonna do in here, hang out if it's raining, whatever else. But you can see it fits really nice on these edges. You know, it's not perfect. That bearing was seasoned up on my my router bit, but so it's kind of cutting into some of those edges like I showed you before, like this back one. But look, who cares? This thing's gonna be great to use. It's gonna get worn a little bit, so I'm super stoked with this. I cannot wait to get the mounts back on the table and use this thing. I guess next up we'll be putting the laminate top on these, and I'll probably do that tomorrow. So I am stoked. All right, so this is a picture of that laminate that I got. I got this from Home Depot. I had to special order it online, but it's a real funky kind of 60s pattern, and I think it's going to fit the camper great. It's boomerangs that are blue and red with a white background. All right, so I've been working on this a lot during work, so I can't really film during then, but right now you see I got weights on these seats. These are the seats, and the laminate's overlapping the edge. It's glued on, and these have sat overnight. The table was right here, and this is the material. It's the laminate. Look how funky that is. It's a Wilson Art brand, and it's awesome so far. So I gotta clean the glue off the edges, but on the table. But this is the table. Routed the edge with a flush bit, and it's done. Look how sweet that is. I cannot wait to get this in the camper and use it. I love this pattern. It's funky. Funky 60s, 70s pattern. It's gonna look great in there. Cannot wait. All right, now you're looking at a finished product. Essentially, the seats are covered, the table's covered, the mounts are put on, it folds, it sits up, you can use it. And this is pretty much the condition that it went to the Van Nationals in. I put a new tongue on the, or I put a new, I guess, hitch part on the tongue, the original tongue, and new chains and stuff to make sure those were going to be okay. It had an 1 7/8" ball, and I moved it to a 2-inch, so it's more standard. The new chains, because the old ones rusted off, and I was able to put a new lock and everything with that. So kind of updated all that. So up to this point, the trailer has new wheels and tires, the new hitch thing, the zipper, all the stuff on the inside, the cabinets and all, pretty much all new wiring for the lights, and everything works going to the Van Nationals. And some things happened at the Van Nationals, and I will fill you in on that shortly. All right, it is 4:49 in the morning, and we are about an hour or so away from home, and I'm sure all you hear right now is the dog panting, and now she's attacking me in the truck. But we're on our way to the Van Nationals. The camper is done enough for now, and ready to roll. We're packed, loaded in the truck with the camper. I wish I had a van. Do not have a van this year, but we're making it. So we'll be there hopefully by tonight. If not, we'll sleep somewhere, get there tomorrow morning. But it's a 13-hour drive, or really more than that, 13 and a half or whatever else. And yeah, so we'll be there at some point. It's saying right now estimated arrival at 7 p.m., but you know, we got to stop and eat and gas up a couple times, and you know, gotta let the dog out and everything else. So ready to rock and roll, and I'll keep you guys updated. Can we just take a second and appreciate the $3.90 gas at Love's in Poplarville, Mississippi? This is awesome. Friggin' stoked about this gas price right here. That $3.90. Awesome. Gonna be really doing well on the fuel budget on this trip. Also checked the trailer bearings, and everything's good. They not hot, so I guess we're okay. We're about an hour and a half in it now, almost. Or, yeah, almost an hour and a half. Hour 15, hour 20. On the road again. All right. Laurel, Mississippi. These exits. Nola, this is where you're from. This is where you came from. These are your roots. Rolling. It is now 6:02 in the morning, and we are making good time. So, ready to rip. Got excited. I got Nola from Laurel 4 years ago on August 1st. So, almost exactly 4 years ago. Super excited. Can't wait to get there. Made it to the Van Nationals, and kind of waiting out this rainstorm. Nothing's leaking, thank God. It's been raining for 10 or 11 hours now, overnight. So it's supposed to rain today for another 5 or 6, and then I think it'll be over for the whole week. So just hoping we can get out and have some fun now. I want to set up all my stuff outside. You know, a lot of this doesn't belong in here, so it's a disaster in here right now. But we'll see how it goes. So I made it and got set up, and whew, this rain's brutal. Alright, we're set up outside my house right now, and I guess we'll start with some of the damage and things like that from the Van Nats that we'll start from the outside and work our way in. So during that wind burst or microburst, I'm not real sure the correct term there, the wind was coming at it from this angle from the front and was pushing real hard on all these seams and ended up tearing the zipper out right here. So you'll see when I open it, all the teeth are ripped off the zipper. We had probably, I looked up the weather almanac like the day after and got all the specs. I forget what they were now. I think it was like 65 or 70 mile an hour gusts. It uprooted some trees. Everyone that had an easy up pretty much got wrecked. Luckily I got the top off of mine before it took it. But so yeah, and if you notice right now, it's zipped all the way down. I've never been able to zip it all the way down until now. Finally just got it zipped and wet it and kind of massaged it a little bit. And so the tent zips all the way now, which is nice. Let's see if I had started, so I can get it up now. All right, and look at that, it even stays closed. I mean, before I measured a 16-inch gap between there, so this is a lot better than it was. You can see it's pulling on those threads of that new zipper, but it closes, so you can see this is where it ripped. Just pulled all those teeth out, and I just came back and hand sewed it up just about last week. So once again, it's October now, so that's how long it took me to get in here and actually, get to work on it. It rained almost every day here in Louisiana since July until about October 1st, and then now I'm just, as I get time, I'll work on it. So that ripped in that wind burst, and then by the time I made it back, you can see I still have some things in here from camping. Really haven't gotten a chance to clean it out yet, but by the time I got back from the Van Nationals, the trailer had bounced around so much. You can see there's marks on top of the laminate where the bed's rubbed, and this is the table, and you can see it's missing that back piece that goes into the camper back there that locks it in. That ended up falling off, and it was on the floor when I got back. I guess those screws backed out of the PVC, so I need to go ahead and through bolt all of that, I guess. And then on the way back, I think is it this side. So I got back to around Tuscaloosa, so about halfway back, or a little more than halfway, and this wheel wasn't attached anymore. The wheel was bolted to the hub, and the hub wasn't on the axle. So I guess it seized up a little while back, and I just drug it, and it lost pretty much everything. There was like no bearing left. The little washer that goes on front of the bearing was gone. Most of the hub was ate off, so I had to find a new hub, of course, right where I stopped between Tuscaloosa and Meridian, Mississippi. There's like no Home Depots, no Harbor Freights, no Northern Tools. Everything was about an hour and a half away, so I had to make those drives. And that was a Sunday trying to come back, and it took me until Monday to get everything kind of put back together, and I finally made it home by Monday evening. So that was my 2-day trip home to come, 16 hours or so, which I guess for a normal person that could be a 2-day trip, but for me that's normally one. So yep, so it did okay, but this is the condition now, and just last week got all this stuff fixed. So the camper is essentially good to go. Got those few repairs to make on the table. Have to finish up fixing the wheel because I'm still missing that washer and things. I just kind of rigged it to get it home. And it also doesn't have a cotter pin in the nut, so it's a little jank. But that's an easy fix. That's 1-2 days, and to get all that put together, after work. And yeah, so camper is pretty much still done. I don't think I'm gonna alter anything with the table or anything. I just fix those brackets, kind of put it back. It's not the best setup because when I'm setting this whole thing up, the table's in the way, really, because you need to walk there to put up these bows. And but I guess that's just how it'll be. I'll have to put my knee on the seat or something like that. So, yep. So, till next time.